Something's not. Here you are.
Ancient Tales of the Dwemer, Part 6, Kaimar Vamidium, by Marabar Saul, Book 6 of a series of fictional stories about the Dwemer. After many battles, it was clear who would win the war. The Chimera had great skills in magic and bladery, but against the armored battalions of the Dwemer, clad in the finest shielding wrought by Inigo, there was little hope of their ever winning. In the interest of keeping some measure of peace in the land, Sithavin the warlord agreed to a truce with Caranithal Bareth the beast. In exchange for the disputed lands, Sithavin gave Bareth a mighty golem, which would protect the Chimer's territory from the excursions of the northern barbarians. Bareth was delighted with his gift and brought it back to his camp, where all his warriors gaped in awe at it. Sparkling gold in hue, it resembled a Dwemer cavalier with a proud aspect. To test its strength, they placed the golem in the center of an arena and flung magical bolts of lightning. Its agility was such that few of the bolts struck it. It had the wherewithal to pivot on its tips to avoid the brunt of the attacks without losing its balance, feet firmly planted on the ground. A vault of fireballs followed, which the golem ably dodged, bending its knees and its legs to spin around the blast. The few times it was struck, it made certain to hit in the chest and waist, the strongest parts of its body. The troops cheered at the sight of such an agile and powerful creation. With it leading the defense, the barbarians of Skyrim would never again successfully raid their villages. They named it Kaimar Vamidium, the hope of the Chimera. Bareth has the golem brought to his chambers with all his house things. There they tested Kaimar Vamidium further, its strength, its speed, its resiliency. They could find no flaw with its design.
Imagine when the naked barbarians first meet this on one of their raids, laughed one of the house things. It is only unfortunate that it resembles a Dwemer instead of one of our own, mused Caranithal Bareth. It is revolting to think that they will have a greater respect for our enemies than us.
I think we should never have accepted the peace terms that we did, said another, one of the most aggressive of the House Thanes. Is it too late to surprise the warlord Sithavin with an attack?
It is never too late to attack, said Bareth. But what of his great armored warriors? I understand, said Bareth's spy master, that his soldiers always wake at dawn. If we strike an hour before, we can catch them defenseless, before they've had a chance to bathe, let alone don their armor. Their armor or Inigo. Then we too know the secrets of blacksmithery, said Bareth. Let it be done. We attack tomorrow, an hour before dawn.
And so it was settled. The Chimera army marched at night and swarmed into the Dwemer camp. They were relying on Kaimar Vamidium to lead the first wave, but it malfunctioned and began attacking the Chimera's own troops. Added to that, the Dwemer were fully armored, well-rested, and eager for battle. The surprise was turned, and most of the high-ranking Chimer, including Nithilbereth the Beast, were captured. Though they were too proud to ask, Sithavan explained to them that he had been warned of their attack by a calling by one of his men. "What man of yours is in our camp?" sneered Bereth. Chimar Vimidium, standing erect by the side of the captured, removed its head. Within its metal body was Inigo, the armorer. "A Dwemer child of 8 can create a golem," he explained, "but only a true great warrior and armorer can pretend to be one." A publisher's note. This is one of the few tales in this collection which can actually be traced to the Dwemer. The wording of the story is quite different from older versions in Aldmeris, but the essence is the same. Chimar Vimidium may be the Dwemer Inkamar Thurnidams. This word occurs several times in plans of Dwemer armor on a monkey, but its meaning is not known. It is almost certainly not hope of the Chimer, however. The Dwemer were probably the first to use heavy armors. It is important to note how a man dressed in armor could fool many of the Chimer in this story. Also note how the Chimer warriors react. When the story was first told, armor that covered the whole body must have still been uncommon and new, whereas even then, Dwemer creations like golems and centurions were well known. In a rare scholarly moment, Meribar Sol leaves a few pieces of the original story intact, such as parts of the original line in Aldmeris. A Dwemer of 8 can create a golem, but an 8 of Dwemer can become one. Another aspect of this legend that scholars like myself find interesting is the mention of the calling. In this legend, and in others, there is a suggestion that the Dwemer race as a whole had some sort of silent magical communication. There are records of the Sigil Order which suggest they too share this secret. Whatever the case, there are no documented spells of calling. The Cyrodiil historian, Vorgesilas Maliger, first proposed this as a solution to the disappearance of the Dwemer. He theorized that in First Era, 668, the Dwemer enclaves were called together by one of their powerful philosopher-sorcerers, Kagernach in some documents, to embark on a great journey, one of such sublime profundity that they abandoned all their cities and lands to join the quest on their climb.
By all means, let's hear it. It's the least I could do since you already helped me grant one final wish for my last worshippers. They were suffering so from vampirism and begged me for a cure. Then you came and ended their misery. I couldn't have planned it better myself. So, what's your heart's desire? What kind of deal can we strike? That insufferable pup, forget it. Request denied, no deal. I'm glad to be rid of him, even if it does mean I'm stuck in this pitiful shrine in the back end of nowhere. Well, perhaps there is a way he could earn his place back at my side. Maybe, but no promises. There's an axe. An incredibly powerful axe. An axe powerful enough for me to have quite a bit of fun indeed. If you bring it to me, I'll grant you my boon. No strings attached, no messy surprises. At least not for you. As I recall, it's resting in Rhinerock Burrow. Barbers can lead you right to it. Little Mutt might even earn his place back at my side.
Short History of Morrowind by Jeanette Cité. Some excerpts from the book's introduction and its section on Vardenfell. From the introduction. Led by the legendary prophet Valoth, the ancestors of the Dunmer, exiles from Altmer cultures in present-day Somerset Isle, came to the region of Morrowind. In earliest times, the Dunmer were harassed or dominated by Nord sea raiders. When the scattered Dunmer tribes consolidated into the predecessors of the modern Great House clans, they threw out the Nord oppressors and successfully resisted further incursions. The ancient ancestor worship of the tribes was in time superseded by the monolithic tribunal temple theocracy, and the Dunmer grew into a great nation called Resdayn. Resdayn was the last of the provinces to submit to Tiber Septim. Like Blackmarsh, it was never successfully invaded and was peacefully incorporated by treaty into the Empire as the province of Morrowind. Almost 4 centuries after the coming of the Imperial Legions, Morrowind is still occupied by Imperial Legions with a figurehead Imperial King, though the Empire has reserved most functions of the traditional local government to the ruling councils of the 5 great houses. On Vardenfell District. In 3rd Era 414, Vardenfell territory, previously a temple preserve under Imperial protection, was reorganized as an Imperial Provincial District. Vardenfell has been maintained as a preserve administered by the temple since the Treaty of the Armistice, and except for a few Great House settlements sanctioned by the temple, Vardenfell was previously uninhabited and undeveloped. But when the centuries-old temple ban on trade and settlement of Vardenfell was revoked by the King of Morrowind, a flood of Imperial colonists and Great House Dunmer came to Vardenfell, expanding old settlements and building new ones. The new district was divided into Redoran, Hlelu, Telvanni, and Temple districts, each separately administered by local house councils or temple priesthoods, and all under the advice and consent of Duke Dren and the district council in Ebonheart. Local law became a mixture of house law and imperial law in house districts, jointly enforced by house guards and legion guards, with temple law and imperial law enforced in the temple district by ordinators. The temple was still recognized as the majority religion, but worship of the 9 divines was protected by the legions and encouraged by imperial cult missions. The temple district included the city of Vivec, the fortress of Ghostgate, and all sacred and profane sites, including those blighted areas inside the Ghost Fens, and all unsettled and wilderness areas on Vardenfell. In practice, this district included all parts of Vardenfell not claimed for Redoran, Hlelu, or Telvanni districts. The temple stubbornly fought all development in their district, and were largely successful. House Hlelu, in combination with imperial colonists, embarked on a vigorous campaign of settlement and development. In the decades after reorganization, Balmora and the Ascadian Isles regions have grown steadily. Caldera and Pelagiad are completely new settlements, and all legion forts were expanded to accommodate larger garrisons. House Telvanni, normally conservative and isolationist, has been surprisingly aggressive in expanding beyond their traditional tower villages. Disregarding the protests of the other houses, the Temple, the Duke, and the District Council, Telvanni pioneers have been encroaching on the wild lands reserved to the Temple. The Telvanni Council officially disavows responsibility for these rogue Telvanni settlements, but it is an open secret that they are encouraged and supported by ambitious Telvanni mage lords. Under pressure from the Temple, conservative House Redoran has steadfastly resisted expansion in their district. As a result, House Redoran and the Temple are in danger of being politically and economically marginalized by the more aggressive and expansionist Hlelu and Telvanni interests. The Imperial administration faces many challenges in the Vardenfell district, but the most serious are the Great House rivalries, animosity from the Ashlander nomads, internal conflicts within the Temple itself, and the Red Mountain Blight. Struggles between Great House, Temple, and Imperial interests to control Vardenfell's resources could at any time erupt into full-scale war. Ashlanders raid settlements, plunder caravans, and kill foreigners on their wild lands. The Temple has unsuccessfully attempted to silence criticism and calls for reform within its ranks. But most serious are the plagues and diseased hosts produced by the blight storms sweeping out from Red Mountain. Vardenfell and all Morrowind have long been menaced by the legendary evils of Dagoth Ur and his ash vampire kin dwelling beneath Red Mountain. For centuries, the Temple had contained this threat within the Ghost Fens, but recently, the Temple's resources and will have faltered, and the threat from Red Mountain has grown in scale and intensity. If the Ghost Fens should fail, and hosts of blighted monsters were to spill out across Vardenfell's towns and villages, The Empire might have no choice but to evacuate Vardenfell district and abandon it to disease and corruption.
Ah, you've got the axe. And my dog. Splendid. Excellent work. A hero and his faithful companion retrieving the ancient artifact for the prince. It's almost storybook. Ah, but it almost seems a shame to give a weapon like that away, doesn't it? I suppose I could be persuaded to let you keep it. But only if you use the axe to kill Barbas. Simple as that. Huh. You're no fun at all. Guess I'll have to make my own fun elsewhere. And with the pup back, I'll be restored to my full power. There's a whole world just waiting for me! I knew I could trust you. Yeah, dog gets master, master gets cosmic X. Everyone's happy. Just get over here, mutt. Don't worry, I'll make sure he sees the light. I trusted you, now you trust me. Ah, that feels so much better. You forget how nice supreme power feels until you've been stuck in a cave for a few years. It's a shame you wished for something so dull as me taking back the mutt. Quite the lack of imagination on your part. A lack of ambition like that really ought to be punished. Perhaps by turning you into a worm, or maybe a few decades, Oh, fine. Have my boon and be done with it. I've got more interesting deals to make anyway.
What do you need, my Thane? Security have been told you're not allowed here. Turn around and go back the way you came.
Got some good pieces out here if you're looking.
causing no trouble.
Blades,
All we
helmets,
ask is to
pretty much
confirm.
anything to suit your needs. Don't.
Fancy robes. You a wizard or something?
I've got a little...
True, I may
Any
look the
arms
part of
or
dashing
armor?
swordsman,
My
but I
forge
prefer the art
never
of wit
rests.
to that of war.
Fancy. Take a look. Return anytime you need arms or armor.
I don't like when they kill that woman and try to save her.
Never should have come here.
Lovely on my sister.
I die for my people.
Foreigner here in the city. Everyone
By
stay
the
back.
gods, that man nearly
The
killed
Marquardt
me.
City Guard have this all
You
under
saved my
control.
life.
There are no forsworn here.
Thank you. Here. I was gonna bring this to my sister, but I think you should have it. Mm-hmm.
Gods, are you alright? Did you see what happened? You don't have to... Oh, I think you dropped this. Some kind of
Damn.
note. Looks
Another
important.
body to get rid of.
Tacitus, need a new blade? Looking to protect yourself? Or deal some damage? Let me know if you need something forged.
Steel's good, but loyalty's better. I'm loyal to Dengear first and the Empire second. See me at my forge if you need arms or armor. The war bleeds Skyrim. Blades, helmets, pretty much anything to suit your needs. Good steel's worth every sup.
Fancy robes. Take a look. Never done an honest day's work in your life for all that coin you
Come
got.
to see Balaman perform the finest weapons and armor. Smithing's been in my blood for... The secret is my forge. It consumes fire salts, a strange mineral that burns as hot as red mountain lava. Well, it was. Sadly, this forge... You will? Thank you. 10 pinches of fire salt should give me all I need to bring this forge back to life. Remember, nothing but genuine fire salts will do.
I picked up a trick from a butcher in Elenir, a small town over the border in Hammerfell. He showed me a way to grind up ice wraith teeth and use it as a preservative. Keeps everything cold and fresh, but only for a limited time. I'm always looking to replenish my supply. Thanks. I was actually worried I'd run out. Be careful looking for those...
Have you met my father? He's the steward up at Dragon's Reach.
You lost? Hearn and I doing some building, eh? I'll have them hold over right away. Doing some building, eh? I'll have them hold over right away. Doing some building, eh? I'll have them hold over right. Doing some building, eh? I'll have them hold over right. Doing some building, eh? I'll have them hold over right. Doing some building, eh? I'll have them hold over right. Doing some building, eh? I'll have them hold over right. Doing some building, eh? I'll have them hold over right. Doing some building, eh? I'll have them hold over right away.
Honored to see you again. Certainly. What did you have in mind? It would be pleasant to have some music in the house. I'll make some inquiries about retaining the services of a bard. Of course. What room would you like? Very good. I'll make all the... Of course. What are we running short of? Fair... What do you need, my Thane? Of course. What are we running short of? Honored to see you again, my Thane. Of course. What room would you... Very good. I'll make all the arrangements. Of course. What room would you like me to furnish? Very good. I'll make... Of course. What room would you like me to... Very good. I'll make... Of course. What room would you like me to furnish? Very good. I'll make all the arrangements. Of course. What room would you like? Very good, sir. Mm-hmm. Honored to see you. Certainly. What did you have in mind? Unfortunately, I'm afraid you're a bit short of funds at the moment.
Oh.
Allow me to introduce myself. I am the Bard Llewellyn, known as the Nightingale. Your steward has arranged for me to take service with you. Of course, anything you like. Certainly. It's a fine tune and a good request. Alduin's wings, they did. Dark in the sky, his raw fury's fire, and his scales sharp.
Who in the name of a... Are you kidding me? We make easy pickings for thieves looking to steal everything we work so hard for. Not only did they take my bow, but they took all of our coin as well. Nothing's sacred to these people. A few days ago, some thieves from Riften broke in here and stole it. Can you imagine? Took the only thing of value we had. If you have the guts to head into the Ratway and get my bow back, I'll pay you what I can. That's it. That's my bow. I don't know how you got it back, and I don't want to know. Frankly, I don't even care. I'm just so glad to see it again. Here, this is all I can afford to give you as compensation. Hope it's enough. Dragons, thieves, and war. I should have stayed in Morrowind.
Outlander. By the Code of Malakath, this stronghold belongs to the orcs. Your kind are unwelcome. We won't kill you, Outlander, but we don't want you here. Remember that. We've heard whispers of an enchanted pair of gauntlets, hidden and protected by dangerous men. They are called the Forge Master's Fingers. Bring them to our chief, and he will decide if you're worthy to be bloodkin to the orcs. We will see.